Inside, nice and comfortable, Miller Park. Snow's on the way again, doesn't matter. The roof is in play, and we will have baseball once again as the Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds close out this series. The rubber match of the series, Eric Thames, the offensive star, with a two-run homer. It was all the Brew crew needed. Josh Hader coming on in innings 8 and 9 and doing Josh Hader things. That's getting outs, many of them via the strikeout. Another two-inning save for the left-hander. Good afternoon. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minard is our reporter. Well, great work by Josh Hader, and some good news in the lineup here today as Christian Yelich Rock is back. And if you can't remember, he's really off to a good start before he got hurt.
Yeah, 6 games, he had 10 hits. He was getting on base, driving in runs, and the Brewers really need this guy back in that batting order, at the top of the order, top 3 in the batting order. He needs to get on base. Christian Yelich, outstanding work early on. He had that oblique. He missed 8 games, and the Brewers really missed him a lot. Couldn't ask for a better guy to get back in that lineup, not just, at the plate, but defensively certainly makes a difference. He covers a lot of ground, and just having that continuity of having Christian Yelich, the rest of the guys starting to get a little bit more healthy, I think you're going to see a much more consistent offense for this Milwaukee Brewers team.
You get a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, and the productivity, as you saw at the plate, through 6 games so far this season. Well, Josh Hader has been a dominant force out of the Brewers bullpen. When we continue, Sophia Minard will pass along some eye-popping stats on the left-hander.
look at Josh Hader, and the Haterade has been nasty for the Brewers this season. He leads all Major League relievers with his 25 strikeouts in just 11 2/3 innings. He's made 2 consecutive appearances with multi-inning saves. His first save of his career came Saturday in New York against the Mets, and then again last night, the 2-inning save for him. He's recorded 3+ strikeouts in all 7 of his appearances, and look at those numbers. The earned run average, just 1.54, and the opponent average, just .70. Good afternoon, everyone. Sophia Minert here at Miller Park. We're getting ready for this series finale between the Brewers and the Reds, and we're starting to run out of superlatives to describe just how effective and nasty Josh Hader has been out of that Brewers bullpen. They're, of course, without all-star closer Corey Knebel, but Josh Hader has come up and filled some important innings, whether it's in the middle of the game or covering the 8th and the 9th as he has in his last 2 appearances. So bullpen coach Lee Tunnell spoke about those strikeout numbers for Hader and just how effective he's been on the mound.
Because he throws as hard as he does and he's got some deception, hitters have to respect certain locations so that, especially left-handers, he can get them really wanting to start the bat, and then that opens up so many things to him. He can either just beat them inside or he can go away, and then that's just with his fastball. Then he can spin the ball, and then it's really tough on him.
Hader has been great on the mound. Zach Davies looked to continue a strong start here as he starts in this series finale against the Reds. And Christian Yelich activated from the disabled list in the starting lineup today at center field. First pitch coming up next.
Pennington, a strikeout victim. And there's a drive to right field. And there is the big fly for the big man. 2-0 Brew Crew. The 0-2. Curveball, strike 3 call. Jeremy Jeffress. And he keeps it going. And the Brewers have a shutout. Eric Thames loves hitting against the Cincinnati Reds. Went deep again against the Redlegs last night. 10 bombs against Cincinnati last year. Back in the starting lineup today. We have it all buttoned up again with more snow on the way. Oh, that roof is a beautiful thing. The Brewers have gone through these first few weeks of the season without a postponement, the exception of the rule. Here's the Reds batting order, presented by Potawatomi. Jesse Winker at the top, followed by Jose Peraza and Joey Votto. Adam Duvall, Scooter Gennett, and Tucker Barnhart 4 through 6. Alex Blandino, Tyler Mahle, the pitcher, hits 8th, and Billy Hamilton rounds out the Reds order against Zach Davies. And we are underway at Miller Park.
Yeah, 4th start for Zach. Off to a slow start this year, just like he did a year ago. Yeah, the difference was last year he had the wins, but the big earned run average, not so much this year. Yeah, last time out against the Mets, he took a loss, 4 1/3, 5 earned runs for Zach Davies.
Yeah, Zach had to labor through those 4 1/3, 103 pitches in that game at Citi Field. And a curveball gets him ahead of the count against the leadoff hitter today, Jesse Winker, for Cincinnati.
When he has that pitch working, I mean, normally he's going to have a good outing to go along with the changeup and the fastball. There's another curveball. Good sign for Davies.
17-game winner a year ago. Only Clayton Kershaw had more in the National League. Not made of the home road splits, but it is worth noting that through the first 3 starts, the best start for Zach has been here at Miller Park. That was against the Cubs on April 7th. 6 innings of 4-hit, 1-run ball in that game. No decision, a game the Cubs went on to win, but he was good.
Yeah, this is his 3rd start at Miller Park this year already.
Winker hits it on a line, chasing Christian Yelich, and he can't get it. It goes to the wall, and Yelich bobbling it out there, and that's going to get Winker an extra base. And he begins the game moving all the way around to 3rd. First game back for Christian Yelich. Had been on the disabled list with the oblique issue. It'll be a double and an error. And right away, the Reds with a runner in scoring position.
Yep, already getting tested out there in center field. That baseball finds you. He hasn't been out there in 8 games. He had Winker shaded a little bit toward left center, but not able to get there. And to make matters worse, he bobbles it for an error. And the Brewers commit an error, the first error in 3 games.
Defense has been an issue, to be sure, with this Brewers team, but the first, as you said, the first error of this series for Milwaukee. Here is Jose Peraza, bouncing ball to Shaw as Winker has to hold. There's out number 1.
Let's check out the rest of the Brewers as they line up the fence. We got Hernan Perez out in left field. Yelich, as we mentioned, in center. Santana out in right. You got Shaw, Arce on the left side. VR Thames on the right side of the infield. And back behind home plate, Jet Bandy.
1 away here in the top of the 1st inning. The Reds last night managed but 3 hits in the game after pounding out 14 in the series opener on Monday. A 10-4 Reds win. Brewers even up this series with a 2-0 victory last night. Joey Votto at the plate.
A tremendous pitching performance by Junior Guerra last night, pitching into the 6th inning. Did not allow any runs. Of course, the Brewers with their first shutout of the season.
Allowed just 1 hit in that span, striking out 7 along the way, and more very good work from the Milwaukee bullpen. Dan Jennings, who got the win. Guerra 5 2/3 strong for the Brew Crew. Jennings, Jeremy Jeffress, and Josh Hader followed the Brewers starter. 2 starts, 2 good ones for Guerra. 2 balls, no strikes to Joey Votto, who has been good this season with runners in scoring position. The average down, but Jesse Winker on 3rd. These situations have been good for Votto so far this season.
Yeah, be careful with Votto. I mean, you got Duvall on deck. He's a double play candidate, especially with a 3-0 count.
And Votto reaches via a walk. He hit 1,000 last night. Add 1 more to it. 1,001 walks now in his career.
Well, let's check out our Pizza Ranch for the win here this afternoon against the Reds. It's all about Zach Davies. Got off to a strong start. He gave up a couple of runs in the first 2 innings in his start against the Mets his last time out. When he's normally good early, he's normally okay the rest of the game. Got to have more home success. His first start of the year at Miller Park, a pretty good one, but overall last year particularly not very good. And he needs some easy innings today, because every inning in his last start against the Mets, he was on the ropes.
Yeah, he was grinding through the game. The Mets won 6-5 at Citi Field. Here's Adam Duvall. 3 homers. He has driven in 9 on the season. Duvall kept quiet last night in 4 at-bats. The Reds, like the Brewers, have had trouble offensively. Their team batting average is .226. These two teams generally feature a lot of offense when they face each other. It was all about pitching last night. Little check swing. Davies will look back the runner. And there is out number 2. Otto moves up to second.
Yeah, a lot has been said about the offense and the Brewers offense, but when you look at the league, the National League, right now with the way the weather's been, league batting average .236.
How about that?
So there's a whole lot of teams hitting right now. There's a good curveball again for Zach Davies, and has Duvall out on the end.
So the Reds have runners at second and third for the former Brewers, Scooter Gennett. He was hitless last night. Doubled in a couple of runs on Monday, part of a big 6-run 6th inning that broke the game open. Gennett coming off the 27 home run season with Cincinnati last year, including 4 in 1 game against the St. Louis Cardinals in June. Real breakout year, a career year for Gennett. Winker doubled, moved to third on an error. Votto walked. That's how the Reds have their base runners as we just get started. There's a breaking ball, and it's sent to Jonathan Villar, and that's good work by Davies in early trouble, and he fights his way out of it. Christian Yelich back off the DL. He hits second in the bottom of the first. Hotel and Casino. Eric Thames at the top of the order today, followed by Christian Yelich and Domingo Santana. Travis Shaw, per usual, hits the cleanup spot. Hernan Perez, Jonathan Villar in the 5-6 spots. Orlando Arcia, Jet Bandy, and Zach Davies round out the Brew Crew batting order against the young 23-year-old right-hander Tyler Mahle.
Yeah, sinker slider basically for Mahle. 4th start, a 1-2 record. He was a 7th-round draft choice by the Cincinnati Reds in 2013. 6'3", 210 pounds. Won his first start of the year. He beat the Cubs 1-0, won 6 innings.
He was outstanding. One hit shutout ball against the Cubs. Wins have been few and far between for Cincinnati. Just 3 of them here so far this season. On Monday night, Brian Price watched his team snap what was an 8-game losing streak. Moves Eric Thames. Ground ball to Votto. And the feed to Malley for out number 1.
Well, let's check out the Reds as they line up defensively. You got Duvall, Hamilton, and Winker in the outfield. Billy Hamilton can run him down with the best of them. Blandino, Peraza on the left. Jeanette Votto on the right side, and Tucker Barnhart back behind home plate. He finished the game behind home plate last night. Devin Mesoraco got hit by a pitch, had to leave.
Yeah, the X-rays were negative, but he actually had one more at bat after getting hit in the 2nd inning. He has just been hammered with injuries in his career. Relieved, I'm sure, in the Reds clubhouse that the X-rays were negative. All the hip injuries, shoulder injuries that Mesoraco's dealt with.
Yeah, before all that, he was an all-star.
Yeah, in 2014. Speaking of injuries, good to have Christian Yelich back in the lineup today. This is just his 7th game of the season. The first 6 were awfully good.
On base percentage .407, hitting .385. Yep, off the good start. Had a 5-hit game in San Diego.
Also had a game-tying home run, the dramatic victory against St. Louis here at Miller Park. Took Dominic Leone deep, and Ryan Braun followed with a walk-off. Brewers have been good in comeback mode the first 2 weeks plus of the season. Win last night evens their record at 9-9. As they continue to work their way through the list of injuries. Get one back, you lose another. And Eric Thames missing a little time. Yelich drawing a walk here with 1 out. Stephen Vogt still working his way back from the shoulder issue that cut short his work in spring training. There's a bat and a clubhouse presence that would be a huge help to this ball club.
Yeah, no kidding. And you get Yelich back, and then Braun came out of the game yesterday. A little calf tightness, so he's back out of the lineup again today.
Get one back and lose one. Been how it's been rolling here for the Milwaukee Brewers as Domingo Santana steps in. Looking for his first hit of the series. 0 for 4 in each of the first 2 games. To Rock's point at the top of this inning, the Brewers, their team batting average is .237. That's middle of the pack.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's gone. All the bad weather, and speaks to some good fortune and some real smarts around here to build a ballpark with a retractable roof. They have been unscathed in terms of the postponements so far.
As opposed to some of the questionable decisions around baseball to not have a roof.
Yeah, just saying, if you could have a do-over. It's unbelievable what's going on.
Yeah, no kidding. I think it has a lot to do with, you know, it's not just the cold weather and the elements. It's the fact that a lot of these teams have lost a lot of games. They're not able to get into a groove offensively, and they get a couple of days off due to bad weather. And, you know, the Detroit Tigers have had a miserable time getting on the field. Minnesota Twins. All games that have to be made up at some point. Things that at this point in the season anyway, the Brewers don't have to deal with.
Cubs Cardinals at Wrigley Field already postponed today. Try it again tomorrow. The ball, 2 strikes to Domingo Santana. It's a ground ball to Alex Bandino. Chance to go around the horn, and they do. 5-4-3 double play ends the first inning for Milwaukee. We're through 1 scoreless at Miller Park.
just over the minimum time on the DL for him with that right oblique injury. He drew a walk in his first plate appearance here tonight. And Craig Counsell said that's kind of what they've been missing. He said when you talk about those guys at the top of the order, what you're looking for is putting pressure on the other team. And so he says you want those on-base guys to do that job. And he said just having kind of constant base runners, making pitchers pitch out of the stretch, having that threat of a big run in an inning. He said those are the kinds of things that this offense has been missing. He said you want to create tough innings for pitchers. And in his career, Yelich has been a high on-base percentage guy. He's .407 so far on the season, and obviously he's a good hitter. So it's a welcome addition back to this Brewers lineup.
Boy, it sure is. They had a very good spring training, very good first half dozen games, Rock. Moving the line is something this Brewers offense hasn't done a whole lot of.
Yeah, they got to get healthy. I mean, you saw the walk, and, you know, he's a stolen base threat, which puts the pressure on the defense. It makes pitchers, you know, work a little bit differently when you have a guy that can run on the bases.
Tucker Barnhart leading off the second. Here's a chance for Yelich. He'll put this away for out number 1.
Look, the .237 batting average, I think, you know, something that I imagine Darnell Cole's not real pleased about. But when you consider all the guys that have been out of the lineup, in and out of the lineup for a while, you know, Manny Pena on the disabled list, you don't have to go through the whole list, but you know, things could be worse. I mean, with all the injuries that they have sustained, I mean, to be .500, I guess if you're a glass half full guy, you got to feel good about that.
Yeah, it just makes you eager to see what this team can do when fully healthy, or at least close to fully healthy. Alex Blandino, the third baseman today for the Reds. They've had their injuries as well. It includes their normal everyday third baseman, Eugenio Suarez. Also missing Scott Schebler. A couple of pitchers have been down. But unlike the Brewers, the Reds have been unable to navigate through that. 3 wins for Cincinnati. 3-14 coming into today's game.
And one thing you can count on when you play the Reds, I mean, big offense, they have not been able to get that going yet. Their pitching has struggled now for a few years. But having Schebler and Suarez out of the lineup, that hurts them. That's a lot of power.
Suarez last year really came into his own as a third baseman. Blandino will lift a fly ball. Shallow left center field. Long run, and making the catch is Yelich. Oh my.
I thought that Perez had that baseball.
So did I.
Goodness. That's a good job. One goes down low, the other one stays on his feet, and that's how you avoid injury. Good job by Yelich on the bobble.
They give Perez the assist. Look at this.
Yep. Did he get a piece of it?
He did.
Yep. Tipped off the body, and there it goes. There's an out. Just a simple F8.
Just stay with it. My goodness. Ball was headed to no man's land out of left center.
Sometimes the ball catches you.
That's exactly what happened here, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what happened. Here's the pitcher, Tyler Mahle. Ryan Price will do this from time to time. He'll have the pitcher hitting 8th, and Billy Hamilton hits 9th. That's the case today. Hamilton really pretty much splits his time at the top of the order or at the bottom.
And just an effort to get a few more men on base for Joey Votto when he comes up in the 3rd spot.
2-0 pitch from Davies. Mahle actually broke up a no-hitter already this season. He had a 3rd inning single against Jamison Taillon. That was in a game on the 8th at Pittsburgh. It was the only hit Taillon allowed. Went the distance in a 5-0 Pirates win. Out of Newport Beach, California, Tyler Mahle. This is sharply hit, but right to Jonathan Villar. And a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Davies. Well, not exactly your routine fly ball, but it worked. Perez off the legs of Yelich and into the glove of the Brewers center fielder. Looking smooth, scoreless through an inning and a half. The Wisconsin Lottery reminding you to please play responsibly. By Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. And by Pepsi, this is the Pepsi for your crew.
Well, bottom of the second here at Miller Park. No score against the Reds. This Friday, the first 20,000 fans at Miller Park for the Crew's matchup against the Marlins will take home a long-sleeve Barrelman T-shirt courtesy of Chevrolet. Reserve your seats today at brewers.com/tickets.
Lots of young folks here at the ballpark today.
Weather day today.
Yes, sir.
Good times.
How appropriate. Craig Counsell had a nice touch to the pregame event here. He wanted everybody to boo the forecast. And they did.
Not the weatherman, but
no.
you know, the forecast.
No, don't blame the messenger. Travis Shaw leading off for the Brewers. A few more inches of snow on the way here in Milwaukee and points west.
That ride back to Madison going to be an adventure for you today?
Yeah, Sean and I were talking about that. We're ready to go. Or we'll just crash your pad.
You're welcome. I want you to be safe, pal. My guess is that you've made that ride in bad weather before.
Time or two. We all have, right? You live in Wisconsin. You have to deal with it. Be smart. Which for me is a challenge, but we'll try anyway. We were talking about all the postponements, and you pointed it out during one of the breaks. The Minnesota Twins have played all the 12 games.
Right.
The Tigers 14, the White Sox 14.
All games have to be made up down the road. Off days, double headers.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Travis Shaw, and he goes down swinging for out number 1.
And that will certainly have an impact on, you would think, who gets to the postseason this year. How many games teams have stacked up they're going to have to play later on.
The Major League season starting a week earlier this year, the intention was to design more off days for later in the year. Matter of fact, for the Brewers in September, every Thursday is an off day. Right now that holds, but a lot of these other teams that have those off days stacked up, those are now going to be makeup days.
Right. Yeah.
Very taxing on, among other parts of the ball club, your pitching staff.
You don't need off days this time of year. The guys are eager to get going and playing on, every day, getting into a routine.
Here's Hernan Perez back up the middle, and the first hit of the day for Milwaukee.
And it's those dog days, mid-August through the end of the season, where you really need those off days, and some teams might not get them.
Let's talk about that schedule as we check in now with Sophia Minnaert.
Well, just the weather and all of the postponements and sort of the schedule nightmares that are ahead of some of the teams like the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago Cubs that have dealt with a number of those games, and the rescheduling of doubleheaders and losing off days, as you guys alluded to. That's been a topic of conversation with manager Craig Counsell, how fortunate the Brewers are that they're not in that position yet. And he said, even you think about just the last 2 nights, he said, even if we didn't have the roof, we would likely be playing those 2 games. And he said they obviously wouldn't be pleasant conditions for anyone, and brought up the comments made by Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo that as a player he would even consider shortening the season and playing less games to avoid these cold weather games. And Counsell said industry-wide he felt, even just aside from the players, that idea may get more support just because it's been such a brutal start to the season. Yeah,
it's something. Rock, you played at County Stadium. I was talking to Jim Gantner on Monday about it. Sunday was rough at Citi Field, but you guys have been there, done that multiple times.
It's manageable.
Yeah.
I mean, the wind is what really gets you. I mean, you can have cold temperatures, but if you have the wind to go with it, it really becomes very difficult. You risk injury. Pitchers have a difficult time, gripping the baseball. And good luck with the Anthony Rizzo recommendation, because that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if you're management side, you're going to say, okay, fewer games, so the salaries are going to take a
drop
hit,
your salary a little bit. Yeah, that's revenue. That's all about revenue, and I don't see that happening.
You hear the talk, though. Rizzo, as Sophia reported, Rizzo's brought it up, and he's not alone. Thinking, well, could you go back to 154? Could you? And that's gate. That's gate, and then therefore salary for players.
Right. Yeah.
It sounds good.
That's opening up a can of worms there.
Ball 2 strikes to Jonathan Villar, back in the lineup last night. Eric Sogard had to start last evening.
It's just one of those years, though. I mean, really, I mean, you talk to guys that have been around this game a long time. You know, Marty Brennaman, you talk, they have never, ever, in all the years that they've been doing this, have seen weather like this to start the season.
Yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, Marty mentioned that a little while ago. Those are guys you mentioned, Bob Uecker and Marty Brennaman. They've been around this game a long, long time. 1-2 to Villar. I do remember it was over 20-some years ago. If you'll beg my shifting over to football here for a minute. A Wisconsin football spring game, which is usually around this time of year, 3rd week of April, whatever. There was a snowstorm, it was like 6-7 inches. And then the players broke into a snowball fight in the second half, and they just decided, let's shut her down. We're done.
That's their way of saying no mas.
Yeah, no mas.
Yeah, we're done.
That was exactly how Barry Alvarez put it, too. No mas, we're done. And then the next day or two, it was probably 65 degrees. It all melted. All right, that'll be your football talk. Full count to Jonathan Villar. The point is, it does happen here, but we don't really have to like it a whole lot. And Villar goes down, swinging out number 2, both via the strikeout for Tyler Mahle.
Yeah, pretty good fastball. Inside corner at 95 miles an hour. 4-seamer. He'll throw that along with a 2-seamer to get some ground balls. Tucker Barnhart barely has to move the glove. And a little bit of tail going back over the inside corner.
Mahle had 4 appearances last year for the Reds. Came up toward the end of August. Faces Orlando Arcia. Himself a pretty good series, bumping up that average. Of course, he's had terrific moments, 3 game-winning RBIs, 9 wins. He has been big in 3 of them.
He's starting to swing the bat better. A pretty good day at the plate yesterday, a couple of hits.
And on Perez, a single to center. He's the runner at first. 2-0 pitch coming to Arcia. Mahle authored a couple of no-hitters going up the minor league ladder. No-hitter in A-ball a couple of years ago, and a perfect game in Double-A last April. He did just 88 pitches. One of those young arms the Reds are counting on to try to stabilize a pitching staff. They've been trying to stabilize it, as Rock mentioned, for a while. Good slider there to even the count.
Yeah, and they have had a difficult time. You know, it's I would imagine going to be difficult for the Reds given the ballpark that they play in. Great American Ballpark, kind of a bandbox to get big time free agent pitchers in there. And I don't know how many guys want to pitch in there half their starts.
Yeah, it could blow up your ERA. It definitely has happened. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Arcia. Goes the other way, and that will slice out of play. Count holds 2-2 to Arcia. Jeff Bandy is on deck. Arcia hanging tough. That one back at 94-mile-an-hour offering. And here it comes. Another spring day.
You have your ice scraper ready?
I do. I do. I'm very, very thankful for that. You know, when we got off the plane from New York on Sunday, you know, some of these guys, especially the newer Brewers, they didn't. I mean, you know,
why would you?
Not top of mind
A lot of them have rental cars and probably not equipped with ice scrapers in April.
Yep. Well, welcome to Wisconsin moment there. But we all know it will get better. And best place in the world to be as we get into the spring and summer months. And did Arcia offer up? He did. A pitch up and in. And the inning is over as Tyler Mahle gets 3 strikeouts here in the inning. We are scoreless, 3-2. Deadline for Gerardo Parra back in 2015, and he ended 2016 strong. Bumpy starts there the first month of the season and really straightened things out. And then last year, the 17 wins, only Clayton Kershaw had more in the National League. Davies looking for his first win of 2018. I remember, Rock, you and BA were talking about this maybe last year or maybe even a couple of years ago, when the move was made, where Buck Showalter, the manager of the Orioles, said, hey, you're getting somebody here. This guy may not know a lot about him in Milwaukee, but you're getting somebody who knows how to pitch.
Yeah, you look at him and you really doesn't put the fear of God into you until you get into that batter's box and really don't get much to hit. And the Orioles really did not want to lose Zach Davies, but they needed an outfielder in the playoff push. Didn't work out for Parr or the Orioles that year. Always seems to be under control of his emotions. You would never know what's going on around him looking at his face.
Just 25 years old, not that he even looks that old. As Davies faces Billy Hamilton. 9-1-2 in the Reds order in the top half of the third inning.
Yeah, Zach last year, at least in the first half of the season, was in that spot in the rotation where the Brewers scored a ton of runs for him. He didn't need a lot of runs second half of the year, but he really turned things around and put some very good starts together.
Curveball lifted into shallow left field. Hernan Perez for out number 1. Well, you've talked about it too with Zach. You know, he doesn't throw hard, but he's not afraid to work the inside.
Yeah, and you have to if you don't throw hard. You know, change-ups, curveballs, he'll cut it, he'll sink it, he'll throw the four-seamer, and he will come inside. Keep you honest. He'll top out at about 91-2 maybe.
Top of the order, Jesse Winker, who doubled to begin the game, advanced to third on an error. Davies was in some first inning trouble. Runners at second and third with 1 out, but got out of it, getting Adam Duvall to tap out and Jeanette to ground to second. Davies ahead 2 strikes to nothing to Jesse Winker. Trying to find the answer in the home park is Zach Davies. He's talked about how he changed his routine a bit before starts here at Miller Park. Get your warm up and then you sit down, try to go into a road routine where you've already worked an inning, get in the dugout, pop back out there.
Home earned run average for Davies' career here at Miller Park, 481.
And he catches Winker looking for out number 2. First strikeout of the day for Zach Davies.
Road earned run average for him in 31 starts, 3.04. Big difference. And check it out, that two-seam fastball. And plenty of the plate. Able to get him. Winker obviously looking for something else.
2 up, 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
Probably looking for that pitch.
Drops a curveball on Peraza. Davies is on. He has pretty good tempo out there on the mound.
Doesn't stray too far from that pitcher's rubber, does he?
He does not. He wants to get it and go. 1-1 pitch to Peraza. They work him inside and Peraza offers. Regular shortstop now. Zach Cozart, who was a good shortstop for the Reds, signing a free agent deal with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Here's the 1-2. Another curve. Lifted to center. Christian Yelich is there. Zach Davies has retired the last 8. We'll see Eric Thames homered last night, went deep 10 times last year against the Reds. He'll hit 3rd as we move to the bottom of the 3rd. Catch the young guns of NASCAR as they chase Kyle Busch and a seasoned field of veterans. The Toyota Owners 400 Saturday at 5 p.m. on Fox. They stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Bottom of the 3rd, scoreless here in Milwaukee. Jet Bandy back in the lineup today, leads things off.
Nice start for Jacob Nottingham's career, his first start in the big leagues, and he calls a shutout. That doesn't happen very often.
That is not bad. Bandy with a base hit to left field. Good start to the 3rd inning here for the Brew Crew. Yeah, it's been, you have to go back, Rock, to the early 70s for this franchise, when a player making his first major league start behind the plate was on the receiving end of a shutout. Darryl Porter.
Yeah. Doesn't happen very often. Good job by Nottingham last night. block a number of tough pitches in the dirt.
Here's Zach Davies. He's a good bunter. Yeah, Nottingham was talking. It was certainly a help when he made his debut on Monday night. He was catching Jorge Lopez. Lopez gave his team 3 good innings. And then he caught Junior Guerra to start with the Sky Sox to open this season. So there at least was some familiarity. You could speak to that far better than I. That's making that jump, that has to be a little bit of a comfort.
No, it helps both of them, right? I mean, for Nottingham to call a game with a guy that he's seen before, and the familiarity for Junior Guerra.
Davies takes a look at strike 3 called. There is out number 1. Well, here comes Eric Thames. Absolutely no secret. He loves playing the Reds. Taking on the Reds today by AARP. Since the numbers against the Reds since 2017. Check it out. 11 homers. Winning 1 last night. Driven in 19. Not a bad career against one team.
I guess if you're the Reds, if you can't beat them, join them, right? Try to get them over on your side so it doesn't hurt you too bad.
I guess. 4-game series last year, mid-April in Cincinnati. Homered every game, had a multiple homer game, and just continued the trend. 8 homers against the Reds last April.
Yeah.
And there's a fly ball hit back into right field. Winker going back. It is gone. Eric Thames one more time.
Really is amazing, isn't it? Wow. Something else.
And now the gauntlet, which with Thames can be extra entertaining.
And painful for others. And just an amazing amount of success against this team.
There's Christian Yelich. Yeah, last night after the home run, Aguilar, he was all wound up in the dugout. That was a little big on big. Looked like they were going to collide at the end of that gauntlet last night.
Yeah. A couple of middle linebackers button heads.
Now, if Eric can find a way to think that every team he's playing is Cincinnati, a little something going.
Yeah.
Yelich goes the other way, out of play.
Well, last night he hit a fastball. Tonight, or I should say today, a slider that stayed right down the middle of the plate and gives it a ride and ends up in that Cincinnati bullpen. 2-0 Brewers.
Malley has been vulnerable outside of his first start this season against the Cubs. Was terrific, but given up 2 homers in each of his last 2 starts and already serves one up this afternoon. 2-2 pitch on the way to Yelich. There's a base hit. Yeah, he's back. Christian Yelich trying to pick up where he left off at the plate. He has walked and now singled.
He gives you a sense how much they missed him in the lineup. I mean, just the way he has, just his approach at the plate. Very rarely, if ever, swings out of the strike zone, and that's not even a strike. Off the outside corner up. It's kind of a flick of the wrist, and he rips it into left field. Just a tremendous approach up there. He gives you what you need in a given at bat.
There's Domingo Santana. Grounded into an around the horn double play in the first inning. Santana is still trying to get it cranked up at the plate. Has been 1 extra base hit so far this season. The slider has him down 0-2. Brewers trying to take this series. The Miami Marlins come to town beginning tomorrow night, first of 4. And Santana, a strikeout victim. The last 5 hitters that Malley has retired has come via the strikeout.
And Santana chasing a pitch out of the strike zone upstairs. Malley's got enough on the fastball. He's reached 95 today to get a body upstairs.
Now Travis Shaw with Yelich, the runner at first. 2-run inning for the Brew Crew. Thames doing the work again. The 1-0. Shaw's father, Jeff, was a Red pitcher in his career back in the day. 2-0 pitch.
And over the slider on a 2-0 count. And Travis Shaw thinking fastball, didn't get it. Not afraid to throw that off-speed pitch behind an count.
Here comes the 2-1. And that evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Change up, huh?
Mixing it up here against Travis Shaw. Now the 2-2. Gold Glover, Tucker Barnhart with the block.
Looking to get a lot of playing time again this year.
Yeah, he's become their regular behind the plate. Devin Mesoraco talked about the injury issues that have haunted him since his All-Star year of 2014. Payoff pitch is roped foul. Is coming in red hot. Three hits in the inning for the Brewers, including a 2-run homer from Eric Thames. That's 18 April homers for Thames last year to this year. Payoff pitch is away, and the Brewers have runners at first and second with 2 out. Chance for Hernan Perez with a runner in scoring position. Playing left field today. Some calf tightness keeping Braun out of the lineup. Fourth time Perez has started in left field this season. That's hit well into left field, but right to Adam Duvall, and that'll do it for the Brewers here in inning number 3. But a scoring inning for the Brew Crew, and one more time it comes courtesy of Eric Thames, who sends one over the wall in right to give Milwaukee a 2-0 lead after 3 at Miller Park.
2-0 lead. Hey, this Sunday, the Brewers host the Marlins, and all fans in attendance will take home an Eric Thames bobblehead, courtesy of Toyota. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
All smiles right now for Eric. Why not? Joey Votto leading off here at the top of the fourth and going after the first pitch, and he will do that quite a bit. And there's a base hit for the Reds' first baseman.
Man, broke his bat, broke it right in half, but Votto able to get enough of it, dump it into right field.
Bobblehead day for Eric coming up. What do you think?
Yeah. That's the pose right there. That bobblehead's pretty true to life.
That is a well done bobblehead.
Got the elbow pad, got the tattoos. Yeah. They've come a long way in bobblehead construction.
They really have. As evidenced by the Bill Schroeder bobblehead.
See, I knew I should have said that.
It was on a tee.
Yep, led with my chin there.
Yeah. Prominently on my desk at home.
Prominently?
Yes. Oh yeah. I look at you every day, Rod.
Yeah. Lucky you.
Living the dream. Adam Duvall tapped out to Davies in the first inning. Reds had runners at first and rather second and third with 2 men out, but could not push a run across. Had a chance to get to Zach early. Davies turned to back. Big power numbers his first 2 years as a Red for Adam Duvall, 30+. Since coming over for the Giants and the deal for Mike Leake. Played his college ball at the University of Louisville, which happens to be his hometown. Louisville is where Corey Ray played his college ball. Doing some good things right now with the Mudcats. First round pick. And here's a ground ball to Shaw. VR for one, and that's all they'll get. Votto is erased at second. One away for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Louisville about what, hour and a half from Cincinnati?
Yes, sir. Where their AAA ball club is located. In Louisville. Not Louisville, they say. You say Louisville.
Right. Kind of garble the beginning of it, right?
Yep. Say it quickly. Louisville. There's Scooter Gennett. Impressive what he did with Cincinnati last year. The Brewers, a ball club that places an extremely high value on versatility. Looked at him in spring training last year, moved him around to a couple of different spots, but VR and others just really wasn't a spot for Gennett with the Brew Crew anymore.
Yep.
Reds took him. He had a 27 homer year.
Who would have known?
No.
Nobody.
Driven in 5 so far this season has Gennett. Grounded to VR to end the first inning. Good beginning here for Zach Davies. Part of the resume, you want to check those early innings for Zach, and he has checked that box here this afternoon. 1 out, 1 on to the fourth. And a roller went right through the wickets, and that'll go in the right field. Duvall will turn second, and the Reds have him at the corners with 1 out.
Yeah, it might have been a double play. As it stands, it's an E3, so 2 errors on the day already from Milwaukee. And first and third and 1 out. Got to tighten up the defense. They go to first. You probably turn the double play if Thames gets it in the glove. Gennett got a late break out of the box. Duvall able to get into third base. And Jeanette safe at first.
Reds had a threat in part because of an error in the first inning, and now their second chance. Here's Barnhart. Double play candidate here perhaps for Davies. See if he can get him to roll into a ground ball.
He's off to a good start this year, swinging the bat well in this series.
Well, he was good last night when he came in for Mesoraco. The Reds had just 3 hits. Barnhart had 2, couple of doubles in as many at bats.
One off of Hader, which is notable. He hasn't given up many hits at all.
No, he's too busy striking people out. Little check swing. Davies always got the runner hung up. Shaw and Bandy have him in a rundown. Duvall keeping it alive. Thames will apply the tag for out number 2, but he kept it alive as runners are at second and third for the Reds.
Yeah, not exactly how you draw up a rundown. And the Brewers might be out tomorrow before the game working on that. Far too many throws. And Duvall's job right there, once he got in the pickle, is to stay in there long enough to allow both guys to advance, which he's able to do. It all started with Davies throwing to third base a little bit too early. Just go and run him back. It should only take one throw, but they did get their man.
Turned into a zip code. 15253. Intentional walk to Alex Blandino, so the bases are loaded. 1 to 5 to 2 to 5 to 3 on the rundown.
What city's that?
Check that out. You gonna Google that?
Actually,
might as well, right? We have time.
oh boy.
Here's Tyler Mahle. Pitcher hits 8th in the Reds batting order today. You on that?
I'm working on it.
All right.
I'm not really. I got 2 things going here.
Multitasking. Good luck. Jeanette at third. Barnhart out at second. And Blandino the runner at first.
Computer froze.
I'll try it. Inquiring minds want to know. Pittsburgh.
Okay. See?
A Pittsburgh rundown.
And instead of putting on those numbers, just say Pittsburgh. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Ball is strike. Davies trying to get out of trouble as he did in inning number 1. He's to take care of his counterpart. Curveball, make it 1-2.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is that a good curveball? We haven't seen a lot of the changeups yet. The fastball, the cutter, the sinker, and the curve.
Base runners for Cincinnati. Davies with a 1-2. Curveball again. VR on to Thames, and again the Brewers dance off the hook. They've committed a couple of errors, but Davies has prevented the Reds from taking advantage. 2-0 Milwaukee. brought to you by Miller Lights. Great taste and only 96 calories. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
A look at Eric Thames. Back-to-back games for him with 2-run home runs. It's a 2-0 lead for the Brewers over the Reds in this series finale. We take a look at our UW Whitewater scouting report, a trio of great pitching performances across all levels of the minor leagues last night. We start with Bubba Derby, 5 innings for him, just 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts for him with the Sky Sox. In Double-A with the Biloxi Shuckers, it was Louis Ortiz, 6 1/3 for him, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts for him in the loss. And for the Carolina Mudcats, Trey Stupak yesterday went 5 shutout innings, gave up just 3 hits and 6 strikeouts in the win. So great to see all the young pitchers in the minor league system getting off to good starts on their seasons.
Yeah, it is great to see, Sophia. Remember, Bubba Derby came over along with Jacob Nottingham in that Chris Davis trade with the Oakland A's. Organizational depth, they talk about it a lot, and they continue to build it here in this organization.
I already saw a bunch of guys coming up from the minor leagues from AAA to help Craig Counsell's bullpen already. Here we are sitting in the 3rd week of the season.
Jonathan Villar leads things off. Yeah, you cannot discount the work of Jorge Lopez, who was optioned back to the Sky Sox, but those 3 innings he gave Counsell on Monday night, that meant something. What was a rough night for the Brew Crew. Villar trying to bunt his way aboard, and Barnhart cannot make the play. Good bunt by Jonathan Villar, and that's how the 4th begins for the Crew.
It helps that you're left-handed when you do that, because you're on your way to first base by the time you make contact. That's just a beautiful bunt. I think he was trying to push a little bit more towards second base, but with his speed, he's able to beat it. Barnhart picks it up, but it's kind of off balance. And he's very fortunate that Votto was able to field that one on the short hop, or the long hop, I should say. It's a leadoff base runner from Milwaukee. Well, you like the way Villar is approaching his at-bats this year. Much better. I mean, that's a good idea to start the inning with a bunt.
Yeah, he is off to a nice start, carrying over from spring training. Here's Arcia. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Malley went through a stretch where the 5 he retired were all via the strikeouts. But in the midst of that, Eric Thames opened up the scoring with a 2-run homer.
And you wonder if Villar is going to try and steal a base. He's been much more cautious trying to steal bases this year, making sure that he gets a good jump and better decision making out on the bases. Malley takes a while to get rid of it. Barnhart's got a terrific arm.
2 strikes and nothing to Arcia. Little pitch out there, but nothing doing. A couple of years ago, Villar led the league in steals, also led the league in getting caught. He is dialing back those caught stealing numbers. He's leaning, but holds. A pop up from Arcia. Scooter Gennett will take charge in foul territory for out number 1. Here's Jet Bandy. Singled and scored in the last inning. It will be a good tester if Villar gives it a go. Rock, you mentioned Barnhart's been good. He's been terrific this year in throwing out base runners, 6 of 11.
Yeah, had a terrific arm. The pitching staff has to help him, which they have. And Villar doesn't have a very big lead. I mean, you can tell sometimes when Villar wants to take off, he gets that extra step at first base, a little bit bigger here.
Brewers trying to add to this lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Zach Davies off to a good start on the mound for the Brew Crew. Tyler Mahle misses, and it's 2 balls, no strikes to Bandy. Five hits so far for Milwaukee. Just a couple for Cincinnati. But the Reds have stranded 5 runners. Talking about VR and being a little more selective on when he runs. You just keep going back, and I mentioned it last night. Craig Counsell, a couple of years ago, he was asked about that with VR. He would run into some outs at times, but he also cited the examples of some other prolific base stealers like Billy Hamilton. Hamilton in 2014 got caught 23 times, the most in the league. Bandy into center field, and he's 2 for 2. VR to second. Little threat going here for the Crew.
Yeah, good job by Bandy. Looked like a breaking pitch that he was able to get out in front of, and off the end of the bat, but able to dump it into center field. Man, watch him hook it. He gets that bat head out in front. Able to drop it in front of Hamilton out in center field.
So here's Davies. Struck out for his first at bat today. And lays one down. Good bunt. Mahle will throw to the covering Scooter Gennett for out number 2.
That big turn by VR. Nobody at third base. He was about a third of the way toward home plate before anybody realized what he was doing.
And to finish the point about the running game for VR, the Counsell brought up quite a while ago. Matter of time, be in the league more, get more experience at this level. It certainly paid off for Billy Hamilton, and you're seeing signs of that with Jonathan VR. First base open, and a no-brainer here for the Reds. They intentionally walk Eric Thames. I could see where they'd want to avoid him. They'll take their chances here with Christian Yelich. It's a no-brainer, but it's also pick your poison.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, I don't know who would you rather face, right? I mean, you got Thames, who's been red hot. But Yelich, no slouch up there.
Yeah, they haven't gotten him out yet. Yelich a walk and a single.
Well, the other guy that Craig Counsell talked a lot about with respect to VR and being young was Starling Marte over with the Pirates.
Exactly. Yep. Big chance here for Christian Yelich. First game back, coming off the disabled list. He actually was activated last night. It was not in the lineup, but in there today, and hopefully for the long haul. One single for VR, single to center from Bandy, intentional walk to Eric Thames. Mahle with a 1-0. Big trade acquisition for the Brew Crew late January.
Yeah, good in these spots, 5 for 7. Runners in scoring position.
The 2-0 pitch. And Mahle in a world of trouble right now. Take that all the way. Yelich has a homer. He has driven in 5. Remember, though, that's just a 6-game total. This is game number 7 of this season for Christian Yelich. Tyler Mahle knows this is a big moment in this game, just being the 4th inning, though.
And he's forced to throw a strike. Can't be nibbling.
There's the 3-1.
Good pitch. Right on the outside corner at 95 miles an hour. see where Barnhart's setting up, outer half, not on the corner, but Malley puts it right on the edge.
Everybody will be on the move on the bases for Milwaukee. Here comes the payoff. And Yelich goes down swinging. Tyler Malley bounces back. Down the count 3-0 to a strikeout. Still 2-0 Milwaukee.
At least 3 different pitches, because one isn't working, you are in big trouble. You know, hitters realize that very quickly, but you know, it's been the curveball today. He hasn't thrown many changeups.
Pitch count in very good shape. Faces Billy Hamilton leading off the 5th inning for Cincinnati. Hitting in the 9 spot this afternoon. That is hit well. Santana going back. Got it. Out number 1. Let's get into that curveball a little bit more today from Zach Davies.
He had it right out of the bullpen. I mean, first inning was dropping curveballs down in the strike zone, getting a lot of outs. And we talked about the fact that Zach needs to be more efficient with his pitches. He has been. I think in large part because the curveball has been so good, throwing it for strikes, and when he gets ahead in the count, throwing it down out of the strike zone and getting some weak ground balls. It's been a good pitch for him today.
You see through 4 1/3, 58 pitches for Davies. His last outing, he went 4 1/3 against the Mets. The pitch count hit 103. Here's Jesse Winker. Double and a strikeout for Winker so far this afternoon. Started the game with the double, advanced to 3rd on an error. Brewers have committed 2 errors. He's come away unharmed. It's either been significant trouble for Zach or 1, 2, 3 innings.
Yeah, that 4th inning, instead of a double play ball to first base, ended up being 1st and 3rd, but Davies able to wiggle off the hook.
The ball to strike to the Reds right fielder. Looking for win number 1 this season is Zach Davies. Another bender, and that'll even the count.
Well, you see the curve ball pretty much going straight down, and Winker over to the top of it.
Zach ready with a 2-2. Just 2 hits for Cincinnati. Winker's double, a Joey Votto single in the 4th. Payoff pitch. Ground ball to VR. 2 up and 2 down. Hey, watch Brewers baseball wherever you go on the Fox Sports Go app. Tomorrow when the Brewers take on the Marlins, stop by the Fox Sports Go booth outside section 104, 105 at Miller Park. Download the Fox Sports Go app, and while supplies last, get a free prize. Free prize there, Rob.
Ice scraper. I'm trying to think. Do I still have mine in the truck? I'm not sure. I hope.
We'll find out, huh? I don't think the rust dust's going to get here for a while yet.
Yeah. It's going to warm up though. It's going to be, low 50s this weekend.
Oh yeah. It's going to get here. It's going to get better. Trust us. Jose Peraza going to try to bunt his way on. Bare hand pick attempt by Shaw. Be a bunt single for Peraza.
And normally not a good idea to try and bunt for a base hit, 2 outs, nobody on. You'd like to try and get yourself into scoring position, but it's a little different with Votto coming up behind you. Extend the inning. And Shaw playing behind the bag, and no chance for him. Even if he picks it up barehanded, no play.
So Peraza, the 2-out base runner for Joey Votto. He went deep 36 times last year, drove in an even 100 runs. After the first pitch in his last at bat when he singled to right field. Very narrow margin. Votto ended up being the runner-up for the National League MVP award. Just a couple of voting points separated Votto from Giancarlo Stanton.
Would have been his second.
Yeah, won it in 2010.
Played in every game last year. We were talking about that last night. Votto's already had a day off this year. He had Thursday off against the Cardinals. That snapped a stretch of 202 straight for Joey Votto in the starting lineup.
Here's the 1-0. Ball away. Votto, 34 years old. He's had 2 seasons where he has gone wire to wire. Played an all 162 in 2013, which was an all-star year. He's been an all-star 5 times. Last year was the first since that 2013 season. Two-0 pitch. Votto played in 158 games in 2015 and 16, so he has been a constant. Quite the luxury for Brian Price.
Yeah, and Reds are getting their money's worth out of that guy. He's on the field every day.
Two balls, 1 strike. He's in the midst of a 10-year contract. Talking about Votto. He has certainly been a drawing card for an organization that has struggled mightily and trying to get back to contending status. 2-2 to count now.
This would ordinarily be curveball time for Zach Davies, or even changeup, because he really hadn't thrown too many. If he's going to break it out, this might not be a bad time for it. One of the best hitters in the game.
Peraza, the runner at first. Good matchup here. You hear the term crafty left-hander a lot. Davies would qualify as a crafty right-hander. And with the ever dangerous Joey Votto. Now the 2-2 with the runner on the move. A foul ball off the bat of Votto. One of the advanced numbers that a lot of baseball folks like to use, OPS plus. It's on base percentage adjusted to the ballpark, where league average generally is about 100. Votto's number last year was 169.
Yeah.
Led the league. It was 160 the year before.
Talking to himself, making sure he stays on the baseball. Never gives up in that bat.
Put an eye on Peraza. Good little matchup going on right now. Davies trying to keep the Reds off the board. Peraza reaching on a bunt single. Peraza's running again. A ground ball to Thames. Will gobble it up, and the inning is over. That keeps the Reds off the board. Halfway through, 2-0 Milwaukee.
By T-Mobile, a great matchup here last night. Shohei Ohtani going off against leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, Mookie Betts. It would end up being a three-homer game for Mookie Betts. The first inning, that one, a 97-mile-per-hour fastball off of Ohtani. He would go yard again in the third off of Luke Bard, and then another one later in the game. So off of three different pitchers, a three-homer game. The only other Red Sox player to do it was Hall of Famer Ted Williams. Impressive stuff for Mookie Betts.
Yeah, that's a pretty good company to keep, I'd say.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts, fun player to watch.
So is Ohtani.
Yeah, pitching and hitting. And quite the story in baseball in this first month. How long is he going to maintain that?
I mean, in watching what he does, I mean, there's no reason why he can't continue.
The fly ball off the bat of Domingo Santana. Room for Winker, out number 1.
But the thing about, you know, Major League Baseball, they catch up to you quickly.
They figure you out.
Pitching, you know, they're going to get a sense for what he tries to do when. There's probably not a whole lot of scouting reports on him at this point. But he's going to have to continue to make adjustments both on the mound and at the plate. We'll see if he's able to do that.
Even Chris Sale, the Red Sox pitcher, said, look, you know, this guy is doing stuff you just don't see. If you don't like it, if you don't like watching this, you should just go do something else.
Right. No kidding.
Everybody around baseball appreciating what's going on.
You know, critics, naysayers, right? Well, it won't last. Who knows if it's going to last? Enjoy it while it's going on.
Well, that was the word in spring training, right? He was really struggling on the mound, couldn't hit, but you can't have him in the big leagues. Got to be in the minors. Well, maybe not. Brew Crew saw Ohtani on the mound in spring training, right? Early March.
Yeah.
2 balls, 1 strike to Travis Shaw.
I think Broxton took him deep.
Change up there to even the count. They did. Keon's off to a nice start, by the way, in AAA.
Yeah.
Some good things. Obviously, it's disappointing not to make the 25 man, but he's doing what you have to do. Put up some numbers and get back up here. Shaw, a strikeout and a walk so far today. Malley with the 2-2.
By the way, just wanted to mention that that last pitch by Zach Davies on Joey Votto, that was a tremendous pitch. Busted him on the inside corner. You know, Peraza's taking off. I mean, you do that to Joey Votto. I mean, you got some pretty good location.
Shaw draws a walk. You talked about it. Davies not afraid to work inside and made it happen against Votto.
89, 90 miles an hour. That's all it takes. Put it where you want it.
1 out and 1 on in the 5th for Hernan Perez. Single to center, a fly ball to left. It's been Hernan's day so far. Just checking in. Perez back out in left field this afternoon. Ryan Braun out with left calf tightness, excuse me. He came out of the game last night after doubling.
Yeah, Lorenzo Cain also out of the starting lineup. That's just a day off for him.
Hernan is in there. He'll play anywhere. We've already seen him pitch an inning this year. Saw that last year. Wherever, whenever, he'll do it. 2-strike pitch. And there's a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. Second hit of the day for Perez, and the Brewers have runners at first and second.
And Malley's made some mistakes with that slider today. Eric Thames hit a slider out of the ballpark. That's an 0-2 breaking pitch that he left down the middle of the plate, and Perez able to hit it hard into left. Yep, right down the middle. Hernan Perez with that nice, easy swing. Worked on his balance in the offseason. He showed good balance on that last swing.
So a little threat building for Milwaukee as Jonathan Villar is at the plate. Reached on a bunt single in the 4th. Brewers left them loaded that inning. Both teams have stranded 6. Villar coming into the game with good numbers with runners in scoring position. Opportunity knocks right now. Brewers as a team 223 with runners in scoring position. Villar comes into the game 6 for 12.
Yeah, not bad, huh? Christian Yelich is 5 for 7 coming in. He is now 5 for 8 after his last at bat.
Malley battled back against Yelich. He was down in the count 3-0, but rallied to strike out Yelich. That ended the 4th inning. 2-1 pitch to VR. It's Austin Bryce warming up in the Reds bullpen. Bryce has gotten some pretty good numbers of late out of his bullpen, as much as it struggled in the first couple weeks of the season. 3-1 pitch.
Well, he dots that outside corner when he's down in the count, doesn't he?
He sure does.
I mean, his fastball has been a good pitch for him. The Brewers really haven't done much with that pitch. Remember, Yelich was ahead in the count 3-0, and Malley threw about 3 of them right there to get him.
Gets the benefit there. A full count to VR. And the payoff. Back to Malley. There's Peraza for 1, and that's a double play. 1 to 6 to 3 as Malley again works out of trouble. We are through 5 at Miller Park. It remains a 2-0 lead for the Brew Crew.
Lead. And once again this season, Brewers Community Foundation will partner with players, coaches, wives, alumni, and other team personnel to continue the Beyond the Diamond campaign, a series of community outreach events benefiting the areas of health, education, recreation, and basic needs throughout the greater Milwaukee area.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. We move to the 6th inning here at Miller Park. Zach Davies trying to keep the Reds off the scoreboard. He has done so, allowing just 3 hits through the first 5. Duvall, Jeanette, and Barnhart for Cincinnati, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Pitch count remains in good shape for Zach. Comes the 2-0. In the air to left field. Perez coming on for out number 1.
Got him out on the end of the bat. Had that sinking liner, and Perez showing Yelich what it was doing. Kind of hooked it, top spin liner, and able to make the basket catch out there in left field.
One away here in inning number 6 for Scooter Jeanette. is grounded to second, reached on an error. Did what could have been a double play ball, but it went right through the legs of Eric Thames. A couple of miscues for Milwaukee today. They did not commit an error in the game Monday, and the same deal last night. The errors became harmless, at least so far this afternoon. There's a chance for Jonathan VR. 2 up and 2 down.
Jammed him on an 2-0 pitch. They figure Scooter Gennett is just sitting all over fastball middle in, and a little bit of a cut to that fastball got in on his hands. Good location today. Cutters, 2 seamers, and curveballs. Really haven't seen too many of the classic changeups. There it is. 87 is all. Another jam shot.
Now Davies will face Tucker Barnhart. Interesting to watch how pitchers work. Curveball good for Davies. The slider was good last night for Junior Guerra.
As opposed to the split. Didn't see many of the split fingers last night. It's just interesting how pitchers make adjustments, right? This is the 10th start for Zach Davies against the Reds. He's probably thinking they're going to be sitting on changeup. So you know what, I'm going to do something different. Curveballs and cutters. It's worked so far.
2 outs, bases empty here in inning number 6. Davies went 6 innings against the Cubs on April 7th. And he catches Barnhart looking. A 1-2-3 inning for Davies, and he needed just 10 pitches to get through it. The strikeout for Zach, and it's still 2-0 Milwaukee in the 6th. Francisco Lindor and the Indians face off with Adam Jones and the Orioles Saturday at 3 p.m. on FS1 or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Quite the moment for Lindor last night from Puerto Rico. The Indians playing the Twins in Puerto Rico, and a big home run for Lindor. That was last night. Heard earlier today that had a complete blackout. Power issues again in Puerto Rico. They're scheduled to play again tonight at 6 o'clock. Austin Bryce now on the mound for Cincinnati as Brian Price going to his bullpen.
Yeah, first time we've seen Bryce here in this series. Right-hander, another big slider. He starts out the inning.
He came over to the Reds from the Marlins for Dan Straley. Arcia with a chopper to Alex Blandino. 1 out. Rice in for Malley, who went 5 innings, 7 hits, 2-run homer to Eric Thames. Here's At the Plate, presented by Wendy's. Jet Bandy's Day. It's a good one. A couple of singles, one to left and one to center. First multi-hit game of the year for Bandy. 7 hits so far for the Brew Crew. And this is popped up. And on the hands was that offering, and Peraza will squeeze it for out number 2.
He's got a good sinker. We've already seen the slider from Bryce. Well, you know, we come to the ballpark on Monday thinking we're going to see some big offense between these two teams, and other than Monday, the Reds had the big hit parade that there hadn't been much at all going on except for Eric Thames.
Well, there's been some big time pitching going on, and Eric Thames has been the offense last night as well as today. Here's Davies. Mentioned the Reds pitching troubles. The bullpen, though, is trending in a better direction for Brian Price. Giving up nothing over the last going on 8 innings now. Reds pitching is at or near the bottom in the National League. Starters at the bottom. Bullpen next to last in ERA. The Brewers pen took a hit, and it's just the nature of the job when Oliver Drake struggled on Monday night. His ERA took a huge jump, but yet the Brewers bullpen collectively has still been pretty good.
Yeah, they have. Good to see the starting rotation starting to eat up some innings. We saw Junior Guerra pitch into the 6th. It looks like Davies is going to go into the 7th here today.
3-1 pitch. Davies making Austin Bryce earn it. Payoff. And that is strike 3 cold, and that'll do it for the Brew Crew. Bryce sets him down in order. We move to the 7th. 2-0 Milwaukee. prepared for life away from home and the everyday grind of the minor leagues. Besides sharing the experience of playing in the Cape, the thing that binds these guys together is their dream to make it to the show. Cape Cod, a journey to the bigs, debuts today, right after our Brewers Live post-game show. There's Ryan Braun, one of the Brewster Whitecaps 14 years ago. A Cape Cod alum, as is Bill Schroeder.
Yep, 1978, I was with the Hyannis Mets. We won the Cape Cod League Championship. Now think about it, a college kid in the summer hanging out in the Cape Cod all summer. I mean, that is just unbelievable. What an experience.
Just hated it, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, those folks up there, the folks that put together that league, it's all nonprofit, and they really take a lot of pride in that league, and it is one of the best summer leagues. And not a good start for Zach Davies, but a lot of top prospects go to the Cape. A lot of sophomores, go there. Sophomores in college. Great time.
Davies hits Alex Blandino to begin this 7th inning. The council would love to get another inning out of Davies here if he can. Brewers bullpen starting to get a little busy. Joe Bandy's going to buy a little time. Dan Jennings getting loose.
Billy Hamilton, the switch hitter, on deck. Then you got Winker, the lefty. Jennings getting loose quickly. We saw him last night.
He actually earned the win. Earned the win for the Crew last evening. Here's Phillip Ervin. He is on the pinch hit now for the Reds. Ervin was in the lineup Monday playing right field. Had a hit which was a double as a curveball misses from Davies. Reds put 10 runs on the board Monday. The last scoring inning was the 8th of that game. Nothing since. Couple of threats today, but nothing to show for it yet.
And Davies starting to fall behind the count a little bit. He did that last inning, able to get away with it.
Reds had a threat in the 1st inning as well as the 4th. Zach has had 3 innings where he has retired the Reds in order. Two-0 pitch to Ervin. Ervin spent most of last year, their AAA affiliate in Louisville. Did appear in 28 games with the Reds last year. Handful in April, and again late in the season. Runners going, and a liner. Arcia. Long throw, no problem from his knees. What a play.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, about maybe a half an inch from being a double play. He did short hop it, but from his knees, we want to make sure that he had a good grip on the baseball. And how about this throwing arm? Goodness gracious. Sidearm flip and gets him. Incredible athleticism for Orlando Arcia.
And makes it look easy. Can't be that easy. Here's Billy Hamilton with Blandino at 2nd.
And Reds running on the pitch. Took him out of a double play. That would have been an easy double play for Milwaukee.
Runner in scoring position again for the Reds. Curveball in there. Couple of fly balls from Hamilton, one to left and one to right. But a good night on Monday has been quiet since. Longest outing of this young season for Zach Davies. Loads up for the 2-1 to Billy Hamilton. Another curveball.
You think he's got confidence in that pitch today on a 3-1 count? Man, put in a good spot, didn't hang it. Now if you're Billy Hamilton, you just got a curveball 3-1. What are you thinking now, right? You don't know what you're getting. Actually 2-2. My mistake.
He still has to try to figure out what's coming, though.
Yeah, 2-1. I mean, still ahead in the count, gets a good curveball.
Here's the 2-2. Now ball to VR. Bobbles it, and that will cost him. Can't do that against Billy Hamilton, and that's error number 3 now for Milwaukee. They got away with the first 2, but this is trouble.
They just wonder how that happens. He caught it. I guess lost a little bit of focus, maybe trying to be a little bit too quick, knowing that Hamilton's running. It just slides right out of the glove, and Zach Davies finds himself in trouble. Man, can't let that happen.
Game number 19. The Brewers are guilty of 21 errors. That's a tough way for Zach Davies to exit. He leads with runners at the corners with 1 out. Brewers lead Cincinnati 2-0. Ground ball off the bat of Billy Hamilton, so Zach Davies' day is done. 6 1/3, just 3 hits. The runners at the corners are his responsibility. Man, was he good. Had the curveball working this afternoon, and rely on his bullpen here to try to get him a win here today. And it's Dan Jennings on the mound.
And more importantly, I think he was able to have some easy innings, and he did not have that luxury against New York. Jennings picked up a win last night. Got a left-hander, then Peraza, the right-hander, then Joey Votto will hit from the left side. That's why you see Jennings in there. He could use a ground ball here.
And he's good at getting him. His ground ball rate is high in his career and even higher as a Brewer. He faces Jesse Winker. From the Brewers' perspective, it'd be a perfect time for Winker to bounce into his first double play. Blandino was hit by a pitch to begin the inning. He's the runner at third. Hamilton, who reached on an error, is at first.
The other part of this is that Billy Hamilton is at first base. It's not just a regular guy in there allowing a guy to get to first. Now you're almost figuring he's going to be at second at some point, the way he can run.
4 steals in as many tries so far this year for Hamilton. Slider misses from Jennings. According to Fangraphs, fun site for I know a lot of fans to look at, the ground ball rate for Jennings so far as a Brewer is 60%. His career ground ball rate's 55. One right now would be very timely. Crew wiggled out of trouble after the first 2 errors of this game. Since Hamilton broke into the big leagues in September 5 years ago, no one has stolen more bases.
You know he's itching to get to second base. You know, not only to get into scoring position, but to eliminate the chance of a double play.
Another tight game for the Brewers. Just another day. Hamilton's running, but time is called
By Winker.
Thank you very much.
And he had that one stolen.
Well, Price trying to manufacture some offense here. This team has not scored over the last 16 innings going back to the 9th inning of Monday night. 2-0 Brewers win last night. Winker comes in with good numbers with runners in scoring position. He has Blandino at third. Hamilton trying to get into scoring position. Sliders in there.
And when Hamilton took off before the last pitch, or when time was called, he just went on the first move. He just waited for Jennings to pick his foot up. He took off. He's banking on the fact that Jennings to Thames to Arcia is not going to be in time, which a lot of times it's not.
There's a ground ball to Arcia. There's VR1 on to first, and that's a double play. 6-4-3. The Reds are going to want to take a look. Oh, the Brewers needed a ground ball in a big way, and they got one.
A good turn right here by Jonathan VR. It's all about the big arm. And they got him.
There you go. Jennings gets the ground ball he was looking for. Stretch time at Miller Park. of the 7th inning. Let's check out today's Badger Mutual play of the game. Dan Jennings needed a ground ball, and Rock, he got it.
Yeah, you had a lot of good stats about the ground ball efficiency for Dan Jennings, and a little bit of a stumble right there by Arcia, but the big arm by VR. He took his time, made sure he had a good grip on the baseball, and they got their double play, so Jennings comes in and gets the job done. Brewers have been able to work around 3 errors today. That doesn't happen very often.
Good turn by VR. Good work again by Jennings. Out of that Brew Crew bullpen, Wandy Peralta now on the mound for Cincinnati.
Yeah, this guy's been pretty good to say the least, right? Peralta, the left-hander, 9th appearance, has not allowed a run. Saw him in game 1 of this series.
Here's Eric Thames. Like last night, he is the offense today. 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. His 2-run homer last night, the only scoring of the game, and there's a ground ball to Votto. Out number 1. Now Christian Yelich. Just joining us here this afternoon. His first start, first time in the lineup since coming off the disabled list with the oblique injury. He's been on base a couple of times. Facing the 26-year-old Wandy Peralta.
Yeah, Peralta appeared in 69 games last year for Cincinnati. Pretty good, 376 earned run average. Off to a terrific start this year.
Yeah, that workload was the most among rookies out of the pen. And he was a guy who could give Brian Price work in consecutive days. Did that pretty frequently last year, did Peralta. Reds bullpen has been improving here of late. Three 3-0 the count to Yelich. Two runs, 7 hits, 3 errors for Milwaukee today. And Yelich for the 2nd time today draws a walk.
Hey, today's time of the game winner, Shep's North Shore Bar and Campground in New Auburn. New Auburn is just north of Chippewa Falls. If they call the Brewers by 10 o'clock tomorrow, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. New Auburn.
You are an encyclopedia. Thanks, of course, to Mike Faulkner.
Right. I mean, yeah. Look at me. I know where Chippewa Falls is.
Oh, yeah.
There's some pretty good beer up there.
Yes, they do. And we're all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Faulkner, our statistician and Tavern of the Game locator. Our producer Brent Reeland, director Renardo Lowe. A great crew here. Good to be back here at Miller Park. 7-game homestand for the Brew Crew. Trying to win this series. Marlins come in beginning tomorrow night.
And the Marlins have gotten off to a rough start. 5-12.
They will miss Harlan Garcia, who has spun some pretty good games for the Marlins this season. Had a no-hitter going, was removed from that game. Young pitcher wanting to watch the pitch count after 6-7 innings. We saw that here a couple years ago with Adam Conley.
Adam Conley had, what was that, 8th inning, 7th inning?
Yeah, it was. They were gunning for a combined no-hitter. It went to the 9th, and Jonathan Lucroy broke it up. Brewers actually had a little rally going. Crazy game, had a triple play. A team that was nearly no hit had a tying run at the plate. Never know what'll happen. Domingo still trying to get it going. Hitless today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yelich the runner at first. Little insurance would be nice here for the Brewers if they can get it. Runs have been tough to come by. A wave and a miss from Santana for out number 2.
They got a changeup by him. Yeah, Peralta, the fastball, the slider, the changeup against right-handed batters.
As Travis Shaw steps to the plate, let's check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. Number 7 of the year today for Eric Thames. Number 6 was last night. Ryan Braun with 3. Perez and Shaw each with 2. Powerball home run leaderboard. Shaw's walked a couple of times today. See if he can get into one. Big fastball from Peralta at 95. Keep talking about trying to move the line, but the Brewers have been very home run reliant in recent days. In 2 of the 3 games in New York, all the runs coming from long balls.
Yeah,
it's been the case here in the last 2 games now against the Reds.
And guys, pitchers make mistakes, and even a Brewer team that has been scuffling a bit. Big guys are going to get a hold of one.
Wandy Peralta ready with the 2-1 pitch. And Shaw sends a fly ball back into center field, but room for Billy Hamilton. And that'll do it for the Crew here in inning number 7. Let's move to the 8th. Still 2-0 Milwaukee.
Thames 2-run home run, and put your baseball expertise to the test by downloading Beat the Streak. Free for your smartphone or tablet. Pick a player to get a hit every day, and if you can build a streak of 57 games, you'll take home $5.6 million.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
That's real good.
That come in handy.
There you go. Fear the deer. Bucks and 6, he says. That'll work. Changes here for the Brewers. We move to the 8th inning. Let's start with the bullpen now. Jacob Barnes on the mound.
And we saw Jacob last in New York on Friday. Tossed 2 scoreless innings. Is unscored upon in 7 of 8 appearances so far this year. And a save on opening day at San Diego. Off to a good start is Jacob Barnes.
Showed you the other changes. The outfield with a different look right now. 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Cincinnati. Starts with Jose Peraza. Got a bunt single in the 5th. Just 3 hits for the Reds. These teams have combined to strand 15. There's a ground ball snapped up by Arcia. Out number 1.
And the cut fastball has been a money pitch for Jacob Barnes. He's been able to keep it down in the zone, throwing it for strikes. And he's got the big velocity with the fastball to go with it.
Now Joey Votto is the hitter Barnes will face. Votto today, a walk, a single to right, and a ground ball to first. Votto, in his career, has had several years where he has had rough first halves and then really turns it on. Last year he was just good, period. 454 was his on base percentage. That led the league. 2 strikes. You see him choking up on that bat. Here's the 0-2. Dan Jennings doing a great job in the 7th inning, getting a double play ground ball from Jesse Winker with runners at the corners and 1 out. Barnes retired Peraza on a ground ball to begin this inning. And Votto, a swing and a miss. Tough play for Bandy to secure it, and he makes it.
Nice flip.
Wow.
That was
number
a
2.
heck of a throw by Bandy. Wow. It's kind of a sidearm flip over to first base. He had a lot of air under it, but put it right on the money. Joey Votto didn't realize that Bandy didn't have it. Took him a while to get out of the box. Good thing. Look at Bandy. Look at his throw. Nice. Avoiding yet another defensive mistake is Bandy with a good throw to first.
Busted back there to get it and brace himself with a throw. It's a terrific play. Here's Adam Duvall with 2 outs.
Hey, Craig Counsell not afraid to use Barnes in multiple innings on a number of occasions this year. You wonder with Josh Hader throwing 2 innings last night if he's going to go out again if he gets through this inning, or is it going to be Albers? The questions that you have when your closer's hurt.
Yeah, without Corey Knebel, the all-star closer.
But you got to get through this inning first.
Two-0 pitch to Duvall. Yeah, 3 of Barnes's appearances have gone 2 innings. As you said, multiple, 3 to be exact.
Yeah. Including his last time out against the Mets.
Duvall hitless this afternoon. Good pitch from Barnes to even the count.
And took a little off the cut right there. Acted like a changeup.
Barnes looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Ground ball from Peraza, a strikeout of Votto. Brings the 2-2 to Adam Duvall. Reds last night had just 3 hits. That's what they have so far today. Crew trying to get back above 500. Again, the 2-2. On the line and lefts, but foul.
Took a little bit off that cutter again, and this time Duvall able to get a piece of it. He was way out in front of it the first time Barnes threw it to him.
Zach Davies went 6 1/3. 3-hit shutout ball. Jennings finished the 7th. Barnes on the brink of taking care of the 8th. Duvall had a 3-hit night on Monday. A couple of doubles, drove in a run. Again, the 2-2. One hopper. Arcia. Inning over. Barnes sets him down in order. 2 grounders and a strikeout. 2-0 Brewers in the 8th.
Of the 8th inning, Thames the home run, and that's what we're talking about right now. The magic Thames has over the Reds, our Powerball home run count for him in his career against them, 12. And it only goes back to last year, Augie.
It's amazing. He set a franchise record last year with 11 home runs in the month of April, but you look at what he's done against Cincinnati alone, 12 home runs in the last 2 years. That's amazing. Just swinging the bat, got a good pitch and hit, drove the ball into the ballpark.
All right, we'll be talking about Eric Thames, also Zach Davies' performance, and see how this one finishes out here from Craig Counsell. Coming up after the ball game, Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. Brewers Live post-game report, Matt.
All right, Craig, Augie, thank you very much. Hopefully talking about a Brewers series win. Bottom of the 8th inning, and there's a familiar face, Jared Hughes on the mound.
And 10th appearance for Hughes. That leads the staff here with the Cincinnati Reds. Know about Hughes with the sinker and the slider. 257 his earned run average. More strikeouts than innings pitched.
Facing Hernan Perez. And Hughes was good with the Brew Crew last year. 67 appearances. Coming over right at the beginning of last season after several years with the Pirates.
Signed a 2-year contract in December. Good for him.
Little chopper. Blandino. Out number 1. Just a ton of pitching in this series. There's Jonathan Villar. Brewers perspective, back-to-back really effective starts. Junior Guerra last night, Zach Davies today.
And they needed it. And nobody getting loose in the Brewers bullpen, so I think Jacob Barnes is going to go out again.
Villar today with a bunt single that was in the 4th inning. Has that average at 276. On base percentage of 300. One and two the count to Villar. Brewers have flirted with trouble multiple occasions, committing 3 errors in the game. Villar back up the middle. That gets through. His second hit. Oh, a big turn from Villar. Trying to lose his footing, made that a little more interesting than need be.
Yeah, that was about as big a turn as you're going to see without a guy going to second base, actually. Boy, any bobble or any kind of bad throw, he was on his way. Getting him started is really no problem. Stopping him, that's the issue sometimes. Rolls that one into center field, and check out the turn. Look out, get back.
Rarely dull. Jonathan Villar. There's Arcia. And there's a fly ball hit back into center field, but lots of room for Hamilton. Out number 2.
Hey, it's a Marvel Superheroes Night this coming Saturday. It's a special theme night ticket package. It includes a seat to the game against the Marlins, plus a Brewers Captain America bobblehead. Learn more at brewers.com/theme nights.
Hey, they're in the spirit right there. Look at that. Superheroes Night. Here's Jet Bandy. First multi-hit game of the season for Bandy. A couple of singles, one to left, one to center.
Might not be a bad time for Villar to maybe try and steal a base here. Maybe the double switch. We got Bandy at the plate, Lorenzo Cain on deck.
Villar has stolen 3 bases, has not been caught. He's holding.
He flinched, decided better of it.
One home run for Bandy was in New York against Matt Harvey Saturday night. Made a terrific play at the top of this inning, securing a strikeout of Votto. Had to race back as the pitch got away. Had to cover a little ground. Nothing doing on the pitch out.
Second time they've pitched out with VR at first.
Two runs, 8 hits for Milwaukee. Former Brewer Jared Hughes on the mound for Cincinnati in the bottom of the 8th.
He was leaning.
Two-run homer from Eric Thames in the 3rd inning. That has been the offense here this afternoon. VR is running. Pitch is taken. And VR has second base. That's 4 stolen bases now for VR.
Man, he showed a lot of good patience right there. He decided to wait until he had the big jump. Look at the size of the lead. You can always tell when VR's thinking about it. He gets an extra step on that lead, and no contest at second base.
Runner in scoring position. 2 outs and a 2-1 count to Bandy. Bandy back in the lineup today. Jacob Nottingham had his first big league start behind the plate last night. Manny Pena on the disabled list, trying to get that calf injury squared away on the 10-day DL. Hughes with the 2-2. VR's running again. This is lifted into right center field. And Jesse Winker will secure it for out number 3. We move to the 9th at Miller Park. It's 2-0 Brew Crew. Jacob Barnes back out there as we move to the 9th inning. 2-0 Brewers lead the Reds. Last night, Josh Hader got himself a 6-out save, his 2nd of the season. 2nd saves of the career of Hader, and now Barnes looking to lock this one down.
Looking for his 2nd save. He got a save on opening day in San Diego.
Scooter Gennett will lead things off for the Reds. Gennett, Barnhart, and Blandino. Jeanette reached on an error in the 4th inning. Otherwise, 2 ground balls to Jonathan Villar. A 10-run outing for Cincinnati on Monday. Nothing since. Barnes trying to finish this one off and make a winner of the Brew Crew, and Zach Davies. Break even to Jeanette. A ball, 2 strikes. The leadoff hitter for Cincinnati in the top half of the 9th.
He threw a few of those, hasn't he? You know, those kind of off speed, you know, maybe sliders more than the cut fastball, but takes a little bit off. Trying to get hitters out in front of it.
Now the 2-2. Reds got their leadoff man aboard in the 7th inning when Alex Blandino was hit by a pitch. 3 times today the leadoff man has reached. Count is full to Jeanette. The payoff. Leadoff man is on here in the 9th. Let's check out what's on tap, presented by Miller Lite. First of 4 with the Miami Marlins. Chase Anderson off to a very nice start on the mound for the Crew tomorrow night. Dylan Peters gets the call for Don Mattingly's Marlins. We'll get it started tomorrow at 6:30 with Brewers Live here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
How good has Chase Anderson been? Wow.
Outstanding. Carry that over into tomorrow night. 4-game set with the Marlins. Here's Tucker Barnhart.
There's that cut fastball down and in.
Barnhart hit a fly ball to center. It was actually deflected off the glove of the left fielder, Hernan Perez. Bounced around off of Yelich a bit, and he was able to secure it. Took a cold 3rd strike in the 6th. Double play chance. VR bobbles, and they'll get just 1.
I'm not sure if they would have been able to get 2, but they certainly would have been able to get that lead runner, which would have kept the double play in order. Veal all of a sudden getting the yips out there at second base. You have the catcher running. If you field it cleanly, and when you consider the arm of Orlando Arcia, you might be able to turn a double play. But he was able to get 1. That one rolls right up the glove.
So 1 out. Jeanette at second for Alex Blandino. A fly ball, an intentional walk. He was hit by a pitch in the 7th. The 0-1. More likely getting the jump on Blandino.
I try and get him to chase a high fastball, get it up to around 96. See if we'll chase it.
2 strikes and nothing to the Reds' 3rd baseman. And he got it. Out number 2 here in the 9th.
Yep, cutter. Made him look bad in that at bat. Look at this swing. That's where you want it, right there, out of the zone.
Reds down to their last out. Cliff Pennington will pinch hit. He started at third last night, went 0 for 3. Jacob Barnes trying to earn himself a 6-out save. Cutter in there for strike 1. Barnes trying to do today what Josh Hader did last night, as well as in New York. Let's get a 2-inning save. 1-strike pitch. Crowd liking it. Home team on the brink of winning this series. Jeanette walked to begin this inning. Barnhart a ground ball. Blandino a strikeout. Well, Barnes ahead 2 strikes and nothing to Cliff Pennington. Here it comes. This Brewers ball club is trying to manage that back into the bullpen without Corey Knebel. Jacob Barnes looking to nail this one down. Put the Brewers above 500.
Let's see if we can get this cut fastball down around the dirt. Get his strikeout.
Barnes with a 1-2.
And back-to-back 4-seamers. Trying to get him to chase, not doing it.
Pennington with just 3 hits so far this season. And the 2-2. This with the cutter, now a full count.
He's just trying to overthrow a little bit, just coming out of the hand and not getting a lot of break on it.
Full count. With Scooter Jeanette, the runner at second. And the payoff. And that is strike 3 called, and the Brewers win it. Back-to-back shutouts for the Brew Crew. 2-0 last night and 2-0 this afternoon. Eric Thames, a 2-run homer last evening. Wash, rinse, repeat. Did it again today.
Very nice. Yeah, how about the pitching for the Brewers, though? I mean, outstanding. Eric Thames providing all the offense the last couple of days, and I tell you, Barnes, Hader doing a good job closing out games in the absence of Corey Knebel. Both of them 2-out or 2-inning saves, and just a good game here at the ballpark. Brewers able to get away with 3 errors. You can't do that every day.
Yeah, you're right. They did today, and they win the series after giving up 10 runs on Monday night. They shut out the Reds through the last 19 innings of this series. 2-0 your final. Craig Kashawn standing by with Brewers Live postgame.
Tell you what, we could rewind yesterday's postgame. That might be something to do. There's Eric Thames. He was the offensive hero. Great pitching. We'll talk about Zach Davies and the bullpen as well, and get you set for Miami coming to town next on Brewers Live.